Hi, my name is Elizabeth and I am one of the candidates that are looking to become an English teacher at Universidad Vizcaya de las Américas, Campus Hermosillo. I have here on my phone the list of questions that Ms. Josefina gave to me for me to make this video. So, they're in super small letters. Okay, so I will go ahead and read them one by one and then answer as told. So the first one says, please tell me your complete name, age, and where you were born. My complete name is Eva Elizabeth Moya Valdez. I am 27 years old, and I was born in Magdalena Aquino, Sonora. Please tell me about where and how you learned English. Well, I was born in Magdalena Aquino, Sonora, but when I was 2 years old, my family and I moved to Salt Lake City, Utah, and we lived there for almost 13 years. So my first years of education were in the States, so that's where I learned English. Have you ever taken an English certification exam, such as PET, First Certificate, CAI, TOEFL, etc.? If so, how long ago did you take the exam and what was your certification level or score? Yes, I took the TOEFL, the internet-based test, around 4 years ago, and I got 103 points on that one. And in 2015, 2 years ago, I took the TKT certification, and I took modules 1, 2, and 3, and I got band 3 on all 3 of them. Oh, this blocked. Okay, please tell me about your training and education as an English teacher. Please include any courses or on-the-job training you have received. Okay, well, I actually began working as an English teacher by work of fate. I was studying psychology, and a friend of mine that was working at a language school in Hermosillo at that moment invited me to teach. And so, with absolutely no teaching experience, just because I knew English, I thought I would be great for the job. So I took the job and I absolutely loved it. I realized that I had no idea how to teach and that there was so much more to it than just, teaching some verbs and talking. So I became passionate about it, so I dropped out of psychology and I enrolled in the BA in English language teaching. So I have a BA in English language teaching, and I have worked for almost 7 years now. Courses, well, I worked at, while I was studying at Sonora State University, I worked there also for 3 years approximately, and we did take some courses both in school and also in academic events such as McTeasels and such. A little bit of everything, going from lesson planning to classroom management to methodology and material planning, a little bit of everything. Where is it? Okay, please tell me how you heard about the Universidad Vizcaya de las Américas and why you applied to be an English teacher there. This was also a matter of fate. When I finished the BA, I kept working there at Sonora State University for almost a year. And after that, I got married and I had a baby, so I dedicated to home, to my baby. And I started working as a translator and interpreter from home, and also teaching for a French company that was called EducaStream, but I taught online. So I was really missing teaching classes face-to-face again. So, well, I moved to Hermosillo again. I was living in Magdalena, Quino, Sonora, which is where I studied my BA. And I moved to Hermosillo, and I was just getting settled in when a friend of mine that works at Universidad de Vizcaya sends me a Facebook message, and he says, "Hey Ellie, are you ready to go back to teaching?" And I said, "Why?" And he says, "Well, I heard that there are some spots available here at Vizcaya, and they are interviewing right now. So if you're interested, send me a resume, and I'll forward it to teacher Josefina." So I said, "Okay, why not?" And so he did. And well, we scheduled an interview with Miss Josefina. I got to see the school, to know the people a little bit better, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the place and the work environment. So here I am. Let's see. Oh, this keeps blocking. Okay. Using the Common European Framework of Reference, please tell me the English levels you have taught. I have taught levels from A1 to C2. When I was working at Natural Learning Corporation, we worked with all levels. Mostly basic levels, but we did have some intensive conversation classes for advanced levels, for C1s and C2s. And in Sonora State University, we did have more basic students. Most students ranged from A1 to B1, B2 tops. Please tell me how many years of experience you have teaching English, including educational levels you have taught. Okay, well, I mentioned this. I think I have been working for 7, almost 8 years. I have taught all levels also. I worked at a preschool for very little time. It was honestly not my thing. I very much prefer working with adults. But yeah, I have worked with all levels. Preschool, elementary, middle school, high school, university, and language school. Again, most of the years I have worked have been at a university. In your opinion, what is the most difficult part of teaching English? How do you overcome this difficulty? I think the most difficult part of teaching English is breaking the barrier, making them not be so self-conscious. I think that is definitely the greatest difficulty. Students are completely blocked. You know, the typical, English and I don't get along. And to get them out of that thought, that idea, is generally the most difficult thing. How do you overcome it? Well, I am a complete humanist. I approach by the senses. I think the best way for me, or at least it has worked for me, is to show them the emotional, cultural side of English, not just the language itself, the grammar, and this and that. No, all that surrounds it, all the benefits that it brings, all the beauty that it has, you know, everything, the different person, the person you become when you learn a different language. So I really enjoy planting that seed of curiosity, and I think that's truly the best way for them to overcome it. In your opinion, oh, did I skip one? No. In your opinion, what is the most rewarding part of teaching English? Precisely that. When you see a student that has overcome that self-consciousness, and that is just so driven and motivated because they now have a specific reason or a specific purpose for learning English, and that you notice that they just shake the fear off and they're just so excited about learning. And even better when for example students come back and they say, hey teacher, you know what, I got my promotion, or I went on vacation with my family and I was the official translator and I communicated well and I was intelligible, and you can see in their eyes how proud they are of achieving that, and they thank you, and that is just incredibly rewarding. To see that they have opened their minds and that they have discovered that new person that you become when you speak in a different language. What makes you happy about teaching English? Well, a lot of things make me happy about teaching English, but the main one, and this is actually kind of strange, I am not a very social person. I mean, in my personal life, I am the kind of person to sit back with a puzzle all day and not answer my phone. Like, really, I am not a social person. And for some reason, when I walk into a classroom, I just feel so full of energy and I turn into a complete different person. And that makes me really happy, because I think that is what I like most about language learning. And I know it's repetitive, I mentioned it before, but you truly do become a different person when you are speaking in a different language. When you get a full, thorough grasp of the culture that comes with that language, the way your mind starts thinking differently, the way your mind opens, it's really amazing. So it's personal happiness because I feel that and it makes me different and it makes me grow. But even more when I see my students have that change, you know. Sometimes when students come into your classroom, and this is very, very common very often, students that have absolutely no vision of a wider picture of a world out there, that some people that have never left their hometown maybe, that they have absolutely no knowledge or no exposure to different languages. And when they finally discover it, and they are so amazed and so excited to know what's out there, and you see them make that turn, it's just really, really rewarding, and that makes me really happy. In many cases, students have difficulty learning English, and this causes them to lose interest. How do you motivate students to learn English? Can you give me a specific example of how you have motivated a student struggling to learn English? Of course, this is very common that students lose interest. And again, especially in working with adults. I like to work with real situations. I like to make sure that we're not just sticking to the books and to all that role-playing and all that grammar, which of course is important, but when they are down, I think that there is no better way to motivate them and to push them to keep striving is to show them the power of language, to give them just one tiny opportunity to put it into practice and get something out of it, be it something at work, something at school, I don't know, just a chance for them to see how helpful it can be. An example, wait, what was the question? The last part? A specific example of how you have motivated a student struggling to learn English. Okay, well, I have this student that I remember a lot. He was one of my specific purposes student, and she was absolutely devastated because all her coworkers knew English, and they were getting promoted, and they were communicating when it's a company called Wholesome Harvest, and they have their greenhouses in some parts of the States and also here in Mexico. So they received a lot of visitors from the States, people, superiors, and she would see all of her co-workers, communicate with them, and she would feel so left out. And so one day she comes to me and she says, you know what, I'm dropping out. And she gave me her reasons. She said she was too frustrated. She said that she just couldn't handle it. So I said, you know what, let's have some private lessons. And I took it and I worked with her personally for almost 4 months. And one day I told her that her final exam would be for her to receive one of those visitors. They were coming down from California, and I said, you will be the tour guide for this person. And because they gave tours to the people that were coming there, and she never had the opportunity to do it because, well, she didn't know the language. So that was her final test, and we worked really hard. We even went to the greenhouses. We prepared everything, and she did it, and she was so proud of herself. It was truly amazing. Her coworkers threw her this huge party and everything. It was really sweet because you could see that she had given up, and it was just so cute and so rewarding to see her so happy after she did that. So going back to that with all this sentimentalism, the point was that showing her the real thing was what motivated her to really feel it and do it and overcome that fear. I think that's how you do it. Okay, let's see. In our classes, we generally have students with various levels of English, as well as students with multiple intelligences. First, how do you determine your students' different needs and abilities? Once you have made those determinations, how do you plan to meet their different needs and abilities? Okay, well, again, this is common, and I had that situation at Sonora State University. But of course, it depends a lot on the size of the classroom, of the classroom, of how many students you have. Because, for example, at Sonora State University, we had really packed classes. We had 35 to 40 students sometimes. And, well, it is obviously a bit more difficult to know what each student needs and wants and how they learn better. But of course, it all comes down to evaluation right from the beginning, and to getting a grasp of their personalities and how they enjoy learning and what drives them better, what drives them the most. I think it's a matter of keeping it different, doing different things, doing things that are real, that are exciting, that have a purpose, so that students will have a sense of purpose, and that they won't just feel like, oh, English class, just, again, I'm going to sit down and learn some verbs, I think that sense of purpose overcomes all those other little things that, oh, I don't like to do this, or, oh, I don't enjoy working with this person. When you are truly motivated and incentivized, I think students truly get the work done, and they feel happy about it. So yeah, keeping it different, keeping it creative, incorporating all sorts of different techniques. I think that is the key. When planning your lessons, what activities do you include to make the class more fun and interesting? Well, I obviously enjoy playing games and doing all those sorts of activities, but I really like to expose my students to realistic situations. Even, well, when they are a bit more basic, working with realia, having them prepare even role play, which could be the most common thing or the most basic, but having them create it with things that are actually useful for them, you know, genuine material. I think that's very important. The student will always get bored if you do the typical, how do you order a hamburger if you go to the States? You know, you have to keep them excited. Okay, specifically what activities? I do a little bit of everything. Presentation, yes, role-playing, games, even plays, going outside again to the real world and putting it right to practice with their specific careers. For example, most of my students at Sonora State University were studying either international commerce or accounting. So we would do a lot of activities that were specific for their careers, and I found that they would enjoy it more than just the regular activities on the book. Let's see, next one. At Vizcaya, our language teachers are expected to work collaboratively with their peers and help create interdisciplinary projects for students to elaborate. Can you give us one example of such a project? Of course. Well, for example, I saw that they have the career, they have some students in they want to become chefs. So, for example, they could prepare maybe a food demonstration for the teachers, in which they could present their dishes in English, of course, and that way they could put into practice what they have learned in their cooking classes, and also put their English into practice, which would be genuine and useful for them when they are working later on at, I don't know, a restaurant. Maybe they can become more international. So yeah, there are definitely many ways to work with peers and to create interdisciplinary projects. I think there was one left. Yes, is there anything else you would like for us to take into account when deciding whether or not to invite you to be an English teacher at the Universidad Vizcaya de las Americas? Okay, well, not really. I really do think that I would be a good addition to your team. I really liked the vibe that Universidad Vizcaya sends out, and I really think I could be of good service and we could make a good team. So, well, I guess that was the last question. So if you have any further questions for me, please feel free to send me an email or contact me in whichever way. And, well, thank you for your time. I do appreciate it, and I hope we'll be meeting sometime soon. Thank you. Bye.